and welcome to another episode of Worst Collection Ever, brought to you by the Sideshow Network. This is the show where we tell you about the worst comic book collection in existence, which belongs to us. I am Jen.
I'm Shawn.
And here we are again.
Yes.
One more week coming at you.
Yeah, and we're actually going to try to do this.
Information into your ear holes.
And we're actually going to try to do this in our actual studios.
Yeah. We sounded so nice last week.
We sounded so nice last week, and hopefully we sound good this week, too.
It truly, the only thing is with the better audio quality, I really realize how terrible my voice sounds.
Your voice sounds fine.
You know how you hate the sound of your own voice?
Oh, I hate the sound of my voice.
I think
I sound like
everybody
an idiot. That's always been my problem for since I was 15, is like, once my voice changes, like, you have the idiot voice for the entire life.
You sound like an idiot.
Yeah.
What does an idiot voice sound like?
Like this one.
Why does that sound like an idiot voice?
Because I just sound like,
what makes it an idiot?
like today somebody asked me for my birthday, and I was like, May, and he's like, August. I'm like,
okay,
you're an idiot.
In fairness, that man was old, so he probably couldn't hear you that well.
But still.
In fairness. He was an older gentleman.
I don't think but most people can't understand me. Because I sound like an idiot because I talk, my voice is in the back of my throat all the time. It's never to the front, and somehow I've never been able to capture that.
Well, maybe you should go to like a voice coach.
Well,
a diction coach,
I guess. Need to speak better.
Yeah. Welcome to the Let's Speak Better Hour.
Speak Better Hour.
Where we're going to talk about how our voices sound like shit instead of comic books.
Yeah. Well, this is a very, I feel this is a very sluggish week.
Yeah.
For this week, for this collection. Not that it's not entertaining.
No.
But
these are slow books.
These are slow books. I feel like we need some fun. We should really be like planning these out.
You mean instead of just grabbing them before we leave the house?
Like literally hours before we leave the house, and I'll just be like, "Oh, okay. I think we're gonna talk to this book. Talk about this book." But anyway, so let's get it.
That would represent some sort of thought, planning, which we don't do here on Worst Collection Ever. It's just like, here's a bunch of shit. Let's talk about a bunch of shit.
If I see, well, here's the thing: because technically, we can grab any book from our collection and talk about it,
right? Because they're so bad.
Yeah,
and I think that's sort of emblematic of what happens today.
So let's get into this first one. First one's going to be Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, Pizza Supreme,
pizza,
number 52 from April 1993.
Yep.
On the cover, it is Doctor Strange. And he's being mauled by Morbius, our friend Morbius from a couple episodes ago.
And admittedly, I bought this book because Morbius was on the cover.
Yeah, just wanted to see what's going on here.
What's Morbius doing these days?
I don't know.
It's a good thing to check in on.
He had a pretty successful series a couple years ago, like a revival of sorts that I don't know what's happened to it since then, but I don't think it's around. Anyways, so we jump into the book here, and Morbius. So the title of the issue is called A Morsel Named Morbius, which is weird.
Yeah, he's being eaten.
Yeah, he's being eaten
by a demon.
He's being eaten by Nightmare, the demon Nightmare.
Yeah, terrifying.
It's a dream being had by Mr. Doctor Strange.
Mr. Doctor Strange, who he's having a very, he's having a sweaty mustache dream. This would actually, just to share, I had a dream last night where I met The Rock.
Yes.
And I was calling him Mr. The Rock in my dream.
That's his legal name.
Mr. The Rock. And he got really mad because he wanted me to call him Mr. Dwayne Johnson.
Mr. The Dwayne Johnson.
Mr. The Dwayne Johnson.
So anyway, so Morbius is having this weird dream about
Morbius, Doctor Strange.
We're actually just having this weird dream about Morbius being eaten, which
by Nightmare.
I'm surprised his dreams aren't much weirder as they are.
Yeah, that's kind of normal.
That's kind of like oh, that wasn't so bad. Yeah.
What if a weird dream for Doctor Strange is like a dream where he like gets up and like goes to an office and like talks to somebody and like drinks a cup of coffee and then like gets in a car and drives home.
Then he like celebrates.
He's like, oh my god, so weird.
Celebrates a coworker's birthday.
Everybody had to bring in cupcakes.
Everybody brought in cupcakes, birthday. But he was supposed to bring in the fruit plate and he didn't, and everybody got kind of mad because everybody says like, "Oh man, you should have brought in the fruit plate."
And Janie's just being really passive aggressive because it's like the fourth time he forgot the fruit plate. And she told him.
Well, because he doesn't get. He's not because she keeps refusing to add him to the email loop. He's not.
But she stopped by his desk yesterday.
She stopped by his desk. She's like, well, "Did you overhear me talking to Janice about this? I mean, you should be paying more attention. This is why, this is why we can't have nice things." Anyway, so Doctor Strange having a sweaty dream. And
ripped to shit, by the way.
Oh yeah, he's
so ripped.
He's been jacked for years.
All jacked. Everybody in these books was jacked.
Everybody in this book is.
It doesn't matter how old they are. They can be 9,000 years old, and they're just like old as shit.
They just have the best abs.
Yeah,
yeah.
They're like everything else on their body is literally like falling apart and like becoming dust, and like but their abs are amazing.
Great abs, Doctor Strange, and he is having this very difficult dream.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I think that was real. I think it actually occurred in the nightmare dream. And then he does a lot of thinking in this book. It's one of the thinking books, where a lot of like little bubbles. And he's just like, oh, but nobody's talking to me because of something that happened in some other book, and blah 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 blah. But all I know is Morbius is really in trouble.
Yeah, he's having there's a lot. He's had a kind of like he's had a fall from grace recently of some sorts that I think actually led to the Secret Defenders book, because he's like no longer Sorcerer Supreme. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still Doctor Strange, but he's not like.
He doesn't get a cool title.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been demoted.
He's been demoted of sorts, so things are not going well for him.
No, really not.
So he decides to put on his
strange clothes,
his strange outfit.
Not the cape, though.
Not the cape.
No, not the cape, because he is still at home. He got out of bed. He put on his clothes. Now he's going to go sit in his recliner and astral project into
Morbius. And it's funny because he goes there and he's like, most of these kind of guys would hang out in the cellars, in the basements. It's not Morbius. He's in the penthouse.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's how Morbius does shit.
Because he finds Morbius sleeping in his Ben Affleck Daredevil bed.
Yeah.
That's
right. I forgot about that.
Or his
sensory deprivation chamber,
or his coffin. Yeah, he's got because since Morbius is a living vampire, he's not really.
No, I was trying to say Ben Affleck's Daredevil thing was like a sensory deprivation chamber with like water and shit.
Yeah, he had a water. You had a water bed, literally a water bed.
Yeah. Do you think he got all pruny in there?
Yeah.
Like after you come out after like
prune Affleck.
Like you just come out and you're like fuck, and you're all pruny.
He's like, I gotta get myself.
Well, he couldn't see. He's blind, so he doesn't.
Yeah, I know. For all he knows,
feel your fingers.
For all he knows, he thinks he's like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
But
me, Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
Drown, and he did take enough painkillers that he probably should have drowned.
Yeah.
Like he should have OD'd and drowned his little sensory deprivation. How do you explain that to somebody? How are you like, hey, come back to my place, let's fuck, but we have to fuck in my queen size sensory deprivation chamber?
Like, you know what? I got a water bed, and you literally walk in, it's just like a man-sized water coffin.
He's like, we're fuck, you can sleep on top of it.
Yeah.
Hope that's okay.
I'll get you some blankets. It's okay.
It's good for your back.
So he finds Morbius in this coffin, and
he's like, but it's night. He shouldn't be here.
Yeah, he should be out, eating people.
Yeah,
drinking the blood of the innocents.
Because that's what he does. Well, it's not so innocent. He tries to target criminals, but that still doesn't make it better.
Yeah,
he's still killing people.
He's still killing. Yeah, as we've we've come across. He's still killing people just because he has some sort of moral thing that he has to do.
Yeah, but it doesn't make it any better.
No, it doesn't. And Mr. Doctor Strange is like, he's like, oh well, he's in this, his Ben Affleck bed, and he's clearly comatose.
And this is Doctor Strange, because in the future, when the movie comes out, Doctor Strange will no longer have like discernible features, because he'll be played by Benedict Cumberbatch, whose features are like flat as a wall.
Yes.
So you can actually see that Doctor Strange has like a nose and shit. So just enjoy that now.
And a sweet mustache.
Yeah, because like Benedict Cumberbatch kind of looked like the bottom of a foot. Mm-hmm. It was very flat.
He's a foot fit.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to attack somebody for their physical appearance. However, Benedict Cumberbatch is a weird looking.
Doctor Strange foot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Doctor Strange foot. So he's like, I'm going to go into Morbius's mind and see what the fuck's going on with him.
Apparently there's a mind storm going on.
Yeah, he's having some problems. And like a demon shows up and it catches Doctor Strange, who, by the way, can I ask you about what is going on with his hands here?
He's flying.
No. Do you see how they have like dots?
Oh, that's part of his costume.
Are they gloves?
Yeah.
Oh, they just look like hands.
Well, those aren't his real hands. No, that's part of his.
That's what I'm asking, because they don't look like gloves. They literally look like cheetah's hands.
He's got a puffy. He's got the puffy shirt, and he sticks his hands through. It's like,
oh, it has like an attached glove part with like dots.
Sure.
Okay.
But that's how his glove.
Okay, I was just checking. I was like,
because he's got the orange, because they're the same color as his sash.
Yes.
You know,
which somebody could just yank on that. That's probably not.
They should actually.
Hanging fabric is not a good idea when you're a superhero.
That'd be really funny.
No capes. We all remember Edna Mode.
That'd be funny if that was really a thing. Like somebody that's how he got defeated, somebody just went yank and just ripped him in half, and it was like Doctor Strange died because he got ripped in half by his.
They just took one side, just went like that, and it just like tied like a knot, and just he cut
like
right
that,
in
like
half.
If that was
silly putty.
Like if that was a thing, yeah. Like if that was a thing that happened in a Marvel comic,
that'd be amazing. Actually,
I often think about that when I play my Lego games. Because I play the Lego Marvel and DC games like all the time.
Yes.
You know, basically it's between that and like wrestling games. But I love the Lego games. And I often wonder, because like you'll be playing, you know, you'll have like a duo and say you're Martian Manhunter and you're breaking a bunch of bricks or whatever, or you're fighting, you know, like guys or whatever. And you're using your laser, and say if Batman's standing like, you know, if you know, a few feet away, you just blow him up. And I wonder, or if like when you're just like, you're not fighting anybody, you're just blowing up bricks in the thing, and you're just, you know, or you just accidentally fall off a railing.
Yeah.
I like that concept about.
And you just explode. Like all your body parts go flying. Yeah.
Like, well, the body parts go flying, but I would love it if it was a deal. I like the idea of it being a thing that if that was canon. Like it was like, what happened to Batman? Oh, he fell off a railing and he died. You know,
but he got better.
But then he got better. No, he did. Or no, but they didn't get better. Like that's how they all died. Like that's how all the superheroes. Like, you know, like Martian Manhunter was blowing up one of our computers in the Watchtower, and he accidentally blew up the Flash, and that's how the Flash died. Like that was written in the like that's canon. Yeah. You know, so there's no more superheroes because they all just die these really stupid accidental deaths.
I think if there were like, that would be a really funny idea for a comic book. It's just like superheroes like that just fuck up constantly and like accidentally wound each other. Of course they can put themselves back together. But I think it would be fun.
That's actually a really good concept. I just like the idea of if they're just looking to end comics altogether.
Does they all die stupid deaths?
They all just die
Bruce
like really
Wayne fucks himself.
They all just die stupid, realistic deaths, like, you know, like Batman falls in front of a train, you know, or Wonder Woman, you know, like drowns in a toilet or something.
Why is she?
Or no, not the Wonder Woman, but like the Atom.
Oh yeah,
drowns in a toilet. He gets flushed to death, and somebody, you know, all of a sudden,
like a marble statue crushes Wonder Woman. Like, that's how she dies. She's, like, taking a run on Themyscira, and one of those fucking marble statues just falls over and lands on her, and she dies.
Well, because it gets knocked out, because it's old and just falls on.
Everything's decrepit.
Or no, it just happens because of their own stupidity. You know, yeah, like enough. You know, like the Flash.
The Flash trips on something and, like, runs headfirst into a table and dies.
Yeah, like, you know, he falls, he gets brain damage, you know, and, you know, he cracks open his skull, he has a hematoma, and he dies.
Yeah. Poor Flash.
R.I.P. This is how I'm just writing the death of comic book universes.
Or they all get stuck in the Legends of Tomorrow TV show and they kill themselves.
Out of boredom? Because
they're bored as shit. They're like, you know what? Fuck this. And they just, I don't care if Vandal Savage takes over the world in 2149 or whatever.
I hope he does.
It's actually a very boring show.
I will welcome him, and I think he would like
All hail Savage.
He needs a podcast guy. I think Vandal Savage will need.
Are you volunteering your services to be Vandal Savage's podcast guy?
I am, yes, because if he's going to want to keep the podcast, and if we be a lot of like Vandal Savage, like history podcasts.
Oh yeah,
I'll produce that.
Yeah,
you know, I can produce like, you know, Vandal Savage's own show where he talks to like, you know, people that he didn't kill. It's just called People I Didn't Kill. You know,
it's like the same 5 guests just over and over again.
You know, yeah. So I just like would start the network. You know, just create. I'd be like his media guy. You know, of sorts. So yeah, I like that.
I like that idea. And honestly, that's
you can be there too. We can do our Vandal. We can do our comic book podcast.
Sure, and we'll just tell Vandal Savage that he's great.
Yeah,
and that Legends of Tomorrow is the worst TV show.
Yeah, and
it's really boring.
Oh God.
I feel bad because I want to like it and I just can't like it.
Nope.
I'm too bored.
Anyway, so Doctor Strange is in the whatever.
Yeah, and he gets caught by a demon.
He's in Morbius's head.
Right.
And
there's a bunch of demons.
There's a bunch of demons start fighting him.
And he's like, oh no, and he doesn't know where he's going, and like he eventually finds Nightmare.
Well, the demons kind of herd him towards where Nightmare is, and Nightmare is gigantic.
Mm-hmm.
And
he looks like a Robert Smith cosplayer.
Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, basically it's Robert Smith.
He's going to start singing Friday I'm in Love like any second.
Yeah.
Is he sitting on a throne of bodies?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Bodies?
Bodies?
Yeah, no, he's sitting on a throne made out of...
If you're a bad guy and you're not sitting on a throne made of people, like, you're not doing your job.
Yeah, he's really selling it.
He is.
I think it's a good...
Good job.
It's a good thing. Man. He's using a lot of organic materials.
Yeah. He's got big shoulder pads on, you know.
Yeah, those shoulder pads, I think, are unnecessary.
They are unnecessary.
They look uncomfortable.
I don't know.
But however, though, they are, like, you know, they're tapered up.
Yeah.
So he's able to do, like,
yeah, at least he can raise his arms.
He can gesture wildly.
Yeah, it's smart. So,
you know what? Good on you, Nightmare.
Yeah, good job, Nightmare.
So he's basically like, hey, Doctor Strange,
And Doctor Strange is like, oh, you got to let Morbius go. And he's like, who's Morbius?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Belch.
Yeah, he literally belches.
He's like, oh, it must have been something I ate. But then he like rips open his own guts. Yeah. Is that what happens? Instead of vomiting, he like rips open his own stomach and yanks out the body of Morbius and throws it at Doctor Strange. It's just really gross. It's all like covered in like fluid and shit. And he's like, ugh.
Yeah, he opens up his body and just throws a moist Morbius at him.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
Which, you know, actually I do appreciate the fact that he's moist coming out of his body.
Yes.
Unlike the Atom.
Oh yeah,
coming out of people's bloodstreams.
Yeah.
In both the comic and the TV show.
And he was not covered in any sort of gunk.
Horseshit.
Which bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So Doctor Strange is like, oh my god, Morbius. And Morbius is like, oh, I'm going to kill you because you look like a demon, because that's what I'm seeing you as.
Because Morbius apparently
is on drugs.
He's on some designer drugs. Something called jazz.
Yeah, which I don't know why Morbius is on a drug.
He's injected himself with straight.
He's on heroin.
Miles Davis. Like he just went to FYE.
He's doing a Johnny Cash.
Yeah,
basically is what's going on right now.
He just poured it all. You know, he's hooked on drugs and alcohol, and he's freaking the fuck out.
Yeah, and
him and Doctor Strange are fighting. So if you ever want to see Doctor Strange and Morbius have a fight, this is your book. Yeah,
here you go. So they're fighting, and I have to say though, the way that Morbius is drawn and the way that Nightmare is drawn is not that.
It's hard to tell.
It's hard to like distinguish who is who on some of the panels where they're like farther away because they look exactly the same.
Yeah, the only difference is that Morbius has pupils and Nightmare does not.
Yeah, so it's basically like two Robert Smiths just like walking around. It's a Robert Smith cosplay convention. In this book, that's what's going on.
That's probably what they were shooting for. You know, Robert Smith was probably. It'd be great if Robert Smith showed up and he's like, "Hey guys, can I come in?" And he starts fighting. Yeah,
like one of them's going to start playing Friday I'm in Love, and the other one's going to start playing Disintegration Street or Fascination Street.
I wish I had more.
It's just going to be like a battle.
I wish I had more cheer jokes. I feel like I'm not.
I know. I feel like I should, but I don't really.
I feel like I had more. Yeah, because I'm not as engaged in them.
No, I like them. I do a lot. But I will say that after I saw them, because I did see them live, I saw them on the Blood Flowers tour, and that kind of killed my love of The Cure, because god damn it, that was boring. Yeah. Until the end, when they finally played like some decent shit, but Blood Flowers, it's boring. My opinion. Sorry.
So basically what happens is...
fight.
So fight, and then something happens where Doctor Strange turns into a vampire.
Because since he's not like a physical being here, this is still his astral body. He can kind of do whatever he wants. And he's like, oh, well, I too am a vampire, and I'm blah. I am Bela Lugosi, and I'm going to see what this is like to suck the blood out of you. And so he like makes out with Morbius's neck.
Well, he does it because he's trying to suck the drugs out, which gross.
Right, which is gross, but also
it does not make any sense. Because this is a physical drug that physical Morbius injected into his body.
Right.
We're in like an astral plane, and somehow Doctor Strange is able to suck that out, and then it starts affecting Doctor Strange's astral body.
Yeah,
which doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Because this is all astral. This is all like...
This is all
there's
like,
no physical...
Yeah, none of this is physical.
Element here.
We're all in Morbius's head.
Because even Morbius is real because he's in a coffin.
Right.
You know, I mean, we know that, you know, Nightmare is a demon, like, but he's like, and this is all astral fighting.
Yeah, this is like a separate plane. So the idea that he could suck actual drugs out of Morbius and then have it affect him is a little
horseshit.
Yeah, it's a little bit bullshit.
BS.
Oh, by the way, so there is a bullpen page.
Oh yeah,
here that we should talk about.
Oh yeah.
Did you read this blue thing?
No.
This one,
Fabian.
Yeah, and he's like, I just want to talk about Wonder Man, and I was like,
oh, I didn't read this.
It's all about Wonder Man.
Oh, it's about. Oh, okay. I will read this.
It's about how great Wonder Man is. So you should read that later.
I will read that. But I usually don't read. I'm. Yeah.
I just happened to glance and I saw Wonder Man.
Oh,
with caps. So,
this is towards the. It's funny because this is probably more of him just being like, "Hey,
please read this so this book.
Please read this so this doesn't get canceled." And then like 4 issues later, it got canceled.
Yeah. So Morbius finally is like, "Oh wait, Doctor Strange, what are you doing to my head?" But Doctor Strange is like, "I'm on drugs." And then,
did you ever see? It's one of my favorite sketches on Mad TV where it's like they're doing In Sync.
Okay.
And one of the guys who's playing Joey Fatone, like it's just kind of like showing like them in like all these different like scenarios, like what if they did this, what if they did that, you know? And one of them was like the guy who's playing Joey Fatone. He's they're like, Joey, man, we gotta come out and like do our performance, and he's just sitting there like in a bathrobe looking at a vending mirror. He's like, I can't. I'm hooked on drugs and alcohol. And then he like just takes some pills. He goes, and pours it. And then he tries to like storm out. And as he storms out, he's like, and he gets up to the group and he's like, excuse me. And he's like, So that's why I imagine this kind of going here. That's really hooked funny. On drugs and alcohol.
Yeah. And so as that's happening, because this is the Mad TV sketch, inside Morbius's mind.
That's what this pretty much is.
Morbius is Joey Fatone.
Mr. Doctor Strange has a mustache like a Mad TV sketch.
Or a Forensic Files.
Or Forensic Files sketch.
Anybody on Forensic Files. You can't be on that show and like.
He reminds me of that Forensic Files.
Not have a mustache.
He reminds me of the Forensic Files of that one where like that secret spy moved to North Carolina and was murdered by some ex-policeman, ex-boyfriend of the woman he was dating.
Yes.
And that would be Dr. Strange.
Because didn't he was from like Sweden or
he was
something?
like a Sweden. He was like
they said he killed the prime minister or some bullshit. He killed the prime minister. He moved to North. It was crazy.
Yeah.
That was a crazy
And they're like, was this related? It's like, no, he just got killed by some hick.
Yeah, was jealous. But
that's what Mr. Doctor Strange looks like in this case. I just feel like he's out. You know, he'd be like the guy who's like, I'm going to move to South Dakota or Kentucky and start my life anew. Nobody's going to know who I am. And then he gets killed by like the guy that runs the Jiffy Lube, or something.
I was gonna say the Advanced Auto Parts store, but we're on the same page.
He gets murdered. He gets murdered at a Waffle House.
Yeah. All of a sudden, Morbius notices that there's a lady.
Well, he's kind of now he's having like because Nightmare did something.
No, Nightmare hasn't done anything yet.
He did a poof. He went whoosh.
Oh, that's right. So he did like some cure spell, and like he cried. And then some woman appeared, and it was like Morbius's dead girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah, he's got this Martine lady that
she's like, come to me, and he's like, yes, oh my god, I'm so glad that you're here. And like Doctor Strange is like, no, and the way he says this here totally doesn't sound right for how Doctor Strange has spoken the entire book. So he's like, Doctor Strange is like, no, can't you see she's a demon? And then he's like, She's your doom, man. Like, it's such a weird thing for Doctor Strange to say. I don't know why.
He's kind of like, hey, cat, you've gone loco in your cabeza.
It doesn't fit the way he's spoken the entire
You've lost
book.
your marbles.
Yeah. I don't.
He looks very happy here, though. This is a very like cheerful picture of him.
It is. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Actually, I want to take a picture.
Happy Morbius.
He's very elated here.
He's so happy to see her, and he's like, "No, don't do it." And Nightmare's like, "Ha, I'm playing Disintegration too loud, so he can't hear you." And so he's gonna run off, and now you're gonna die, and because you are suffering from the drugs. And Doctor Strange's like, "No, I will climb up this stupid fucking flight of stairs that doesn't exist and save him." And Nightmare's like, "All right, well, I'm going to take over your body, so peace out, bro." And like, then he does, and then he has like a really weird mustache.
Yeah, his mustache gets even weirder.
It's like one of those like old timey dudes who used to like play with their mustache before they like tied a chick to a fucking train track kind of mustache.
And like they wax it.
And they wax it, and they like
it's very stiff. But it's okay, but it's like that. It's like it's curl. It's curled, but it's stiff.
Yeah.
Out. So
yeah.
It's weird.
So it's like a dolly mustache, kind of? Yeah. So that's it.
So that's it for Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, number 52 from April 1993. Would you read the next book?
No.
Yeah, I don't care. I occasionally dabble in Doctor Strange, but I typically don't have as much interest in him. Yeah. You know, because he'll show up on things. I mean, I try to see if I can get into it, and then sometimes I can, sometimes I can't.
Yeah, which surprises me because you kind of like some of those like mystical dudes, like over in DC,
I do.
You like Dr. Fate. You know, you're into the Spectre.
Yeah, but
that sort of stuff. But for some reason, Doctor Strange not working for you.
I don't know. There's some stuff that's pretty good, and there's some stuff that's not. So I don't know. I maybe I just need to and figure out some other ones. But this isn't the best example.
Maybe not the next issue of this. Maybe after the end of this story, I might pick it up again.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. This is kind of actually getting closer to like when he joined the Midnight Suns group that Morbius was in, and eventually he changed from looking like this to
Benedict Cumberbatch.
No, he ended up looking like how would I best describe
Benedict Cumberbatch?
No. He had this look. I'm trying to figure out who he looked like. He kind of looks like he started looking like Axl Rose.
Oh no!
In the November Rain video when he's at the funeral.
Oh, okay.
But instead of his hair being red, his hair is like silver
and long,
and he doesn't have any facial hair, and he's just got like those kind of like John Lennon kind of glasses.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I can reference it right now.
Yeah.
Actually, who kind of looks like John Lennon in this case. But that's for some reason I was like, oh, remember that one shot in that November Rain video?
The thing is I feel like we've brought up that video several times on this.
Well, it's a great video.
It's a great video. It's probably one of the best videos ever made.
So he eventually goes on
to the November Rain video instead of reading this comic book.
It's pretty much the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing.
Same story. Because there's dreams.
There are definitely dreams.
There's dreams and weirdness.
There's a dead lady in both.
Ah.
I mean, if you're really going to spin the roulette wheel of dead ladies, you're probably better off with the November Rain one.
And this is after the video came out, so they ripped them off.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? That's why it took Axl Rose so long to release Chinese Democracy. He was still upset about this comic book.
He's upset about everything.
Yeah, it's because he's an asshole.
That's in a month from now, they're actually going to perform at Coachella. Wait, no, they're supposed to. It's not happening.
Okay, they're on the lineup for Coachella. They're not actually going to perform.
Oh, it's not happening.
No, of course it's not
happening.
No, it's
Nothing is going to happen.
No, Axl Rose is going to pull one of his diva moves. I think like Axl Rose and Kanye would be really good friends.
They should tour together.
They really should. And like no one would ever take the stage. It would just be, and Kanye West would just call it like art or something that like they never showed up to perform. And then he would just send somebody out like, oh, we're getting like weird feedback. And then he would just send somebody out wearing like really ugly clothes.
Yeah.
That's like, the most boring color you've ever seen. It's like beige.
They look like a safari person.
Yeah. Well, you've seen his clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Kim Kardashian looks so terrible lately? In like some of those like really ugly things? It's because Kanye has been dressing her.
Yeah.
And she is not an ugly lady.
No.
It's Kanye puts her in really ugly clothing. Great stories.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kanye fans. We're talking about him.
I'm not saying he doesn't have good songs.
You think Kanye listens to this show?
Oh, absolutely. Kanye West totally listens to this show.
I hope he does.
And he's really angry right now, and he's going to give us like a 500 tweet rant about what assholes we are.
How great
would that be? It's not that he's not wrong about us being assholes.
How great would that be?
What, to be yelled at by Kanye West?
For
500 tweets?
For 500 tweets, and just him being like, I heard this podcast that made me so angry.
I'm not saying that his music is bad, actually. There are definitely Kanye songs that I am a huge fan of, but he's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, okay.
All
well,
right.
that's it for this book.
Kanye West, yell at us on Twitter.
Please do. All right, we'll be back with the next book. All right, we're back here on Worst Collection Ever here on Sideshow Network. Now, next up is our DC selection. And this one is, oh man, I feel so bad saying how boring some of these books are.
Well, you know, and I have to say, I take full responsibility for both of these books because I bought them both. I bought this Doctor Strange one, and I bought this one because I thought, oh, this might be fun, and I was wrong. So my judgment is poor.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be trusted.
Can't be trusted.
I bullshit.
Can't be trusted to buy the right kind of comic books.
No, like, oh, Jen, everything you have sucks. Like, that's why I have the worst collection ever. There you go.
Well, you know,
because here's this one, and again, man, this book is boring. As fuck.
To its credit, or to the point, the character Supergirl.
I'm not a huge fan of Supergirl. I'm sorry.
Bores me to tears as well. I've never. And it sucks because I want to be able to maybe support that TV show and stuff like that.
Well, I think we would watch it because we don't watch it when it airs.
Well, we don't watch it when it airs mainly because it's also on Mondays when we actually watch other things on TV.
Yeah, like Gotham or X-Files I was watching, and like Supergirl kind of competes with that. And I would totally pick up and watch her on a streaming service. But you have to get like a special CBS app or some bullshit instead of just watching it on Hulu like we do with like At Midnight.
No dice.
So no, sorry, Supergirl. Even though I want to see the Flash Supergirl crossover.
I mean, because Martian Manhunter's in it.
I know, fucking Martian Manhunter.
You know,
Red Tornado's
in it. Like, there's stuff going on.
Yeah,
and I get excited, but there's no. It's not. It's not to be.
No, it's not.
But this is the Daring Adventures of Supergirl. That's the actual title.
Yep.
The Daring Adventures of Supergirl, number 3 from January 1983.
Yep.
So this is getting closer to when the movie.
Yes.
The movie came out in like 1984. So this is obviously, leading, kind of probably exists for that reason.
Yes. To get people interested in the movie. And we also have a Lois Lane backup.
Oh, yeah.
In this one as well, which again.
Well, we'll get.
And I like the Lois Lane comic books. I have a bunch. This particular story I did not like.
Well, it's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to. Anyway, so on the cover, Supergirl it just says decay, like a big bunch of letters.
Yeah, and it kind of looks like she's charging a monster that kind of looks like Clayface or Swamp Thing, kind of like put together into one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's charging the monster. So she's out here talking to herself. The episode, the issue is called, the story itself is called Decay Day. And so she's flying. And it's one of those
and
ones.
her boobs look terrible, by the way.
Yeah, her boobs look weird.
Whoever drew this did not draw these breasts properly because they look like her torso is like sideways, but the rest of her is straight. And it looks weird.
They had to get the cans in. Also,
they really wanted to get the cans in, but they did the wrong angle when they tried to get the cans
also,
in.
they seem like they're not physically like in the right direction.
Well, that's what I mean. They're pointing the wrong way because the rest of her's
flying
pointing
forward
this way, but her boobs are pointing that way, which is kind of impossible.
Yeah.
Because, it does. I mean, unless they're like, I don't know, really light and like a strong breeze is blowing them in one direction, but I don't think that actually happens. I don't.
But she's
as an owner of boobs, that's not a typical thing that happens.
Why don't you go outside and fly? See how that works.
I'm just going to go outside and see if a strong breeze blows my boobs to one side. It's like hair. It just. Or it's like a wind sock, basically. That's what's going on. 2 fucking wind socks, just directions. It's weird, man.
So she's flying to. Apparently, she's trying to go to school.
Yeah, and I guess she lives in Chicago right now.
Yeah, she goes to Chicago.
So, and she's going to go to her first day at, and there's a name for this university.
Lakeshore University.
Lakeshore University, which sounds like a for-profit school that's fake.
It does not sound real.
It is the University of Phoenix of the DC universe.
I just hear that song.
That like College Now rap song that they did on the
No, that song that says like hey do as well. You know that song that we hear it on the radio, and every time I hear it, I go,
"Oh, you mean the one that I'm always like, that's United Colors of Benetton ad?"
Yeah,
yes.
I always hear that because it sounds like the song, it sounds like a song that they would show. It sounds like they would have it while they're showing like diversity of the students that it's like get your degree today, go online, get your degree in 5 minutes, and you'll and you'll be able to work for the government, Yeah.
You're going to be a TSA agent or whatever, but you have to spend $75,000 to get a bullshit degree that they're not going to accept.
I will have a bit. I'm going to go on a bit of a rant. So not rant here, but I'll just say I used to work for a for-profit school.
Yes.
In the financial aid department.
Yes, you did.
And it's a very disappointing world that anybody to be involved with, students, employees, and everything like that, because just the concept that these people are signing up to go to these classes and to get this education, and
it's not worth anything.
And it's not really worth as much as they would hope for it to be, but they're putting themselves ridiculously in debt for student loans. And a lot of times it's not worth it.
Right.
And I feel bad for a lot of people. Anyways, so thank you, Wonder Girl or Supergirl, for doing that to me today.
Thanks a lot,
awful book.
Jerk. With your weird windsock boobs.
So her windsock boobs, she lands in class and she puts on her wig.
Yes, because she has a brown wig because
she's Linda Danvers. She's like, oh, I'm a student, Linda Danvers. I have to go to class.
Who, by the way, is wearing the weirdest fucking shirt.
It's a floofy shirt.
It's like the Seinfeld puffy shirt, but it's like pink. It's basically what this shirt is. This is something that the Dowager Countess would wear on Downton Abbey. Like, that is the shirt she is wearing. And she is like a, 19-year-old girl.
Yeah, 19-year-old girl. And she's like, yeah, well, I saw this.
Look at all my fluffy ruffles.
Saw this in the, the
fluffy ruffles sounds dirty. Actually, you want to see my fluffy ruffles?
I found this shirt at the BBC garage sale, and I'm gonna wear it. So she goes to
Dame Maggie Smith is gonna put this on, put a cameo at her throat, and look angry and irritated with everyone around her.
So she goes to see her student advisor, who is who's this guy?
I don't know. Some guy.
Okay, Barry Metzner. Although I want to call him Dave Meltzer.
Sure. This is Dave Meltzer.
So Dave Meltzer is here,
and he is the advisor for psychology students or whatever, because that's what she's going to major in, because she's a psychology major.
Because she's like, I want to know how people think because I'm Supergirl and I'm
right. But he's like this absent-minded professor with shit all over his fucking office. He can't find anything. And she's like, oh my God, he's kind of cute.
He does look like, what he looks like a boy wearing a wig.
He's Vincent Adult Man.
He's Vincent Adult Man, pretty much.
Yeah,
with a pipe and
he looks like a child wearing a wig, like a bad wig.
And he's got a pipe and he's got the Harry Potter glasses, and he's wearing he looks like a mixture of a child. He looks like a child dressed as Tom Cratchit from Christmas. Tom Cratchit. What the fuck am I talking about? Bob Cratchit.
Yeah.
From A Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
And he looks like a Doctor Who Dickensian street urchin guy.
Yeah, he totally does. I agree. So he's like, oh, I'm trying to find this thing. And
anyways, he's an educator.
He's an educator. He's got shit all over his office. It's a fucking disaster, which should not be accepted in any world. like this much. He's a hoarder, basically. Like that's
Well, he's a hoarder to the point
where
where she's literally
like shit is falling on her. There's
literally
nowhere for her to
buried.
sit down, and like then he's like, "Oh, I'm looking for this piece of paper. I'll find it eventually." And she's like, "Oh, here it is." And he's like, "Oh, hey, well, my secretary quit because she doesn't understand my filing system because there isn't one. But you seem to find that thing really quickly. How about you work for me?
Yeah, why don't you work for me?
And by the way, you can clean my fucking office too." Which, that's bullshit.
And he's like, "Oh, by Jove, she's pretty."
Yeah,
you know?
oh, she's really pretty. Vincent adult man is feeling some stirrings.
Yeah, and it's just like
It's just stupid.
I wish there was just a scene where like the next issue where just the whole thing, like he's got cans of like he's got like oily rags just catch on fire and she's got to like put it out and he's like,
that's what's gonna happen. Because you know, if his office looks like this, his house probably looks worse.
oh, he's probably just got.
He's like one of those, you know, those cars that like all you can see is like the driver's seat and everything else is just like fucking to the. There's one by us.
Yeah,
parked on the street every once in a while. Like, I don't know how you can drive this car.
He's
it's
one of those. He's
so
one of those
trash.
guys who's like, and I've known a few of these people who they have, like they don't like they're like bachelor guys who like don't clean.
Yeah,
but like not even like they just don't clean. It's like, oh, I left that a little bit dirty. It's like they just don't clean. Like they don't do dishes.
Yeah,
there's
gross.
just stuff, and it's just like, but somehow they look like, you know, like David Bowie cosplaying Harry Potter or some shit. And, you know, and they're like, you know, and women are like, oh, you're handsome. And it's like, yeah, well, I've also got.
But then you start dating them and you're like, oh, wait, now I have to fucking take care of you. Like, I'm your mother and I don't want to be in that relationship. So I'm out.
He is the worst man.
Because, I mean, there's nothing, like, I'm not going to say, like, I'm the cleanest person in the world. Like, I have stuff that I leave on my, you know, end table and whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, do your goddamn dishes.
Yeah, but
they have to. I mean, come on. You are going to get, like, gross bugs and shit if you don't. Vacuum. Clean your bathroom. Not every day. Like, once a week. It's cool. Like, you don't have to be the cleanest person, but put some effort.
Make your bed.
Make your bed. That's all.
Occasionally.
That's all.
You don't have to.
Wash your sheets. I don't know. Maybe.
Wash your clothes.
Wash your fucking clothes. Like, yeah.
Put your clothes.
I'm saying baseline shit here, people.
Separate as much as possible your dirty clothes from your clean clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't be like, hey, I need to find a shirt.
Put your clean clothes in the closet.
Be able to see your floor.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm just saying.
That's all.
I'm just saying, as a married man who was once single, just try to be clean.
Yeah, but you were never like you never had that.
No, I didn't.
You never had any of that shit.
I could have. I had tendencies for that, Mike, but you know, I would not do that. So, anyways, but this guy.
Yeah, this guy is a disaster.
This guy is the worst.
He's the worst.
You know, he looks like friggin', you know,
Vincent
David Bowie. David Bowie. It looks like Vincent Adult Man dressed as David Bowie.
Dressed as Harry Potter.
Kind
of, yeah.
So imagine that.
It's weird. So,
okay, so now
then we cut to like an alleyway where I assumed this man was a melted mass of humanity, but apparently he's just old. But he's like drawn.
He's drawn really awful.
Really, really terrible.
He looks like he's drawn like he's really old and he's like, ugh.
Yeah, but he looks like he's melting.
Yeah,
but he's not. He's just old. So, but then like this Clayface Swamp Thing monster comes and grabs him, and he's like, oh, because this guy's like a hobo and he like lives in an alley or whatever.
And it's funny because he's doing that thing where he's just, I think, is he talking to himself the whole time?
Yeah, he's talking to himself.
He's like, oh, this stinks over here. Well, you're not no more God yourself there, buddy. Like, who are you talking to?
Right. And so Decay grabs him, and the minute Decay touches him, he like decays. Basically, he turns into
I think it's funny. I think it's funny because he thinks it's like some other friend of his.
Yeah,
that smells really bad. He's like, hey, is that you, Davey?
Yeah, he's like, what up, Davey? You stink. And then like,
it's like, oh, it's just use the piles of shits that's going to murder me.
Davey, you smell like an asshole. It's okay. Come hang out with me.
I got a bean in a jar.
We're gonna make this can of beans over this trash fire. But he like
beans.
Decays into like a pile of sludge and bones.
I will say that
is like yum.
I will say, does he actually say yum?
No, but he's like, oh, it was so good.
He does say, I am fulfilled. Yeah. That's how I'm going to finish all my meals. I'm going to be like, I am fulfilled. Meal.
That's not going to be weird at a restaurant.
No. I will stand up on my chair and yell it really loud. That's
fine. Everybody else is standing on their chair taking pictures of their food. It's not weird.
So I take a picture. I was like, this guy was hungry and he was filled. Oh, how dare he? I was like, no. So the Cantor's Dally and do that right now.
Yeah.
I'll be like the star of Hollywood.
Cantress Deli's too fucking expensive. By the way.
It is.
Anyway, so he wanders off.
So it's funny because like real quick though, the descriptions of this, like how this guy dies.
Yeah,
because
they're ridiculous.
It's kind of like he screams, but then he just goes unconscious and doesn't even feel the pain for the rest of his life. You know, for the rest moments of his life. And I'm like, can we just say that? I see what's happening.
Yeah,
here.
we get it. He dies. We don't need
it. Like this is like the prose in this box is like it's here. But I'm like, I see what's happening. He's being sucked into this body.
It's unnecessary. I think some writer was just like, I really just want to write something that isn't like a thought bubble. And they just went a little bit too far.
Yeah. And
then there's this. I don't even know what happens here.
I don't even care.
There's like some guy doing an errand for like a bald dude. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Whatever.
He's got very intense helmet hair.
Yeah, he really does. And so then we cut back to Supergirl getting out of her first day of class and running into a friend of hers who is wearing a tie.
It's Groucho Marx. It's Harpo Marx.
It's Harpo Marx. She's got the curl. I don't know what's going on with that.
Guys, do you hear that? I'm so sorry.
We apologize for the feedback. I'm not sure.
We're so high tech.
We are. This is what happens. It's better if we just scream into a laptop. So Supergirl sees there's a bunch of shit going down because Decay is like attacking a construction site or whatever.
Yeah.
And Supergirl's like, here, take my books back to my friend. Bye. And then she like flies off. And then she goes to the site. And Decay is just like, I am Decay, blah. And like everything he touches is like gross and turning to dust and nastiness. So meanwhile, there's this woman called Psy.
So Psy, PSI,
and
like the dancing guy. No, it's PSY is that guy.
Yeah,
the Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
So this is PSI, Psy.
Yeah,
and she was like one of
Supergirl, I guess, fought her last issue.
Yeah, she's one of Supergirl's like earliest villains / whatever. And so
she's having a hard day because I guess she's like having a headache because she's somehow psychically linked to Decay because she turned some guy who was training her to defeat Decay into Decay. I think that's what happened, right? This is the guy she was trying. Then she got really angry and then she turned him into Decay.
Sure.
I think that's what happened. I'm not sure. And so now she's like, oh, I've turned him into the thing that he was like spent his life fighting against.
Yeah.
I don't know how she turned him into Decay. I don't know why they were fighting against Decay. I don't know.
Well, he's like got a gun pointed at her for some reason.
I don't know. And so anyway, her psychic powers did this and she's like, so she like runs out the window, like literally, like makes it melt and then it goes back together.
She makes it melt and then she goes and then we get Supergirl fighting Decay and like it's just fucking boring.
Yeah, it's
she
boring.
Picks him
like,
up.
He's actually like trying to melt her face off, and it's still boring. Like literally, trying to melt her face off in that last panel. He has his hand over her face, and it's like there's like lines indicating like burning, and it's still boring.
Yeah, and you think you'd be excited about that?
Oh shit! Just get her face burned off. Nope, not
in the face.
In the face. And then Sai shows up, and she zaps the fuck out of Decay and turns him back into the dude.
You know what's funny though is that she's like, so while she's doing that, Supergirl's like, "You're killing him," and I'm like, "Yeah, fucking kill him."
Yeah, because he's literally everything he touches is destroyed.
He's absorbing hobos.
Yeah, and like anything he touched the car and it became rusty pieces of metal and then just fell into dust. You can't really keep a guy like that around. I mean, unless you want to put him in the Flash dungeon.
Yeah. Which, I would be like, I would be the same way, but like, you're killing him because you're just leaving him in that Flash dungeon which
is worse, I think, in solitary confinement.
It is probably the worst fate.
That's a fate
of any super villain.
That's a fate worse than death, to be just like stuck in some fucking, like black site prison where you have like no due process and no rights, and you're just like, I'm in solitary confinement and I can never get out. And there's no trial, there's no nothing. I'm just here.
Like, who's feeding them?
Vibe.
Is it Harry?
Vibe.
Is Vibe making like ravioli and like putting it in a dish and being like, hey.
I guess. I assume so.
Fuck Vibe.
Fuck Vibe. And so there's Lois Lane backup, which doesn't really matter.
So anyway, so that's the end of the Supergirl story. It's done because basically it just ends.
That guy turns back into.
He turns back and then Sai flies away.
The end.
And she just goes meh.
Yeah, and she's like, I'm out.
And that's literally how I feel. Meh.
Yeah, meh.
So now we get the Lois Lane one. Basically, it's a backup where. Okay, so first,
this part doesn't have anything to do with the actual story that we read.
Yeah,
there's a story about Lois and talking to Perry and something like
Jimmy.
well, first she's talking to Perry. And she's like, Perry, somebody wrote this perfect, great article about something that's going to happen tomorrow. It's just on my desk. Perry's like, whatever. And Jimmy walks in. He's like, no, really, I have one too. And then it cuts to like another photographer who works at the Planet.
Yeah.
Taking pictures of like a fashion show. And they're like, oh, here's Missy so-and-so. She's the new ingenue. Look how great she is. And there's like all these pictures of her. Basically, it looks like a drawing. Like it looks like an advertisement for a Barbie.
Yeah.
Or Skipper.
Yeah.
From back in the 80s. Because it's like, oh, here's this girl. And then she like goes backstage and everybody loves her and she's so great, whatever. The other models don't like her, but whatever. So then she goes into her room and she's like, oh, I'm only 14. She's only 14.
I thought she was 19.
Is that a 9 or a 4?
Where?
Because I got really fucking creeped out if she's only fucking 14.
I think she's 19.
She better be 19.
I think I wouldn't.
That better be a 9. Because if that's a 4, no, fuck this story.
Calling the cops.
Because that, yeah. Everybody should, call the goddamn cops. Where's that number?
It's back this way.
Is it back this way?
Guys, this is fascinating.
This is fascinating shit, but I got really upset when I read it.
Oh, hang on. It's back when she walks backstage and they're like, bitch.
Yeah. Bitch. I think it was like the photographer who said it. I can't tell. But they give an age.
I'm fine with this because we should probably do this.
Yeah.
Who cares about this? Yeah, okay. She just turned. Wait. Hang on.
It might be a 4.
Hang on. I think that is a 4.
It's a 4.
Fuck
She's
me.
14. It's gross.
That's a 4, right?
That is a 4.
Oh.
That's a 4. Fuck this book.
Okay.
Fuck this story because that's not right. It's like this girl like modeling women's clothing and she's a 14-year-old. Side note, that is actually when you see high fashion models like walking the runway in like London and Milan and New York, those girls are really 13, 14 years old. Most of them. So just an FYI that there's extremely young girls modeling grown women's fashion. Seriously disgusting.
Yeah.
Because they're girls. They should be in like school. I don't know. Anyway.
Get an education. Well, okay. Here's
fucking school.
Well, here's what's creepy about this, though. Even creepier too is so she goes into her dressing room.
Yeah.
And she is like, life is crazy, and she hears somebody in her room.
Yeah.
And
who comes up and puts his hand on her mouth from behind.
And his mouth behind, and he goes, and she looks at him and he goes, "Daddy."
Yeah.
So it's her dad, who apparently she hasn't, who I think left, either she left home or
I think it's her mom because she does mention that her mom wants her to model. So
okay.
It's like her mom is
that's right.
She's like a Kris Jenner, crazy stage mom type, who's forcing her daughter to exploit herself for money. And so she got divorced from the dad when this girl was like 6 and she hasn't seen her since. So this girl's like, "Daddy, oh my God, it's you." She recognizes him right away. She's like, "Oh my God, Daddy,
I don't know how.
I don't know." And then she's like, "Dad, here, I carry these around in my purse. These are all the letters I wrote you, but Mom never let me send to you." And it's all about how lonely she is.
I know, they're really like...
But like the way that they like, he hugs her and stuff and the way it's drawn, it's very sexual.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
they look like lovers.
I wasn't sure
like
if this was, I was very much expecting, I was wondering, I was like, is this
Sugar Daddy?
Like, is this going to go in that direction? Because just the way that it's drawn, I'm like, are they going to make out?
Yeah.
Like, Dad, I missed you so bad, you know? And it's just like, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. It's a really uncomfortable scene. And then I guess her dad kidnaps her.
Yeah.
And so the call comes in some reason, like Jimmy gets the call.
Well, Harpo, what happens is Harpo Marx calls the right. Daily Planet and it's like...
Because she's the photographer who's there.
Yeah, so she's like, well, this sucks.
Yeah.
You know?
And they're like, well, let's figure it out. And then Lois goes into the dark room with Harpo Marx and they see this like picture of this guy in the crowd. And Lois is like, I recognize that guy. He's like a film, like an actor, but I don't remember his name. So she runs over to like it was funny because she's
like
film critic.
Well, it's funny because she's like, you're talking to an old film buff. So she's pretty much like Gilbert Gottfried here.
Yeah.
And
but she can't remember his name, so she runs over to like the film critic,
Jack Riley, movie editor,
and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's so and so." He dropped it.
Steve Conrad.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, that's him." So then she like goes to
brother to William Conrad, Jake and the Fat Man.
So then she like goes to like the place where he's living, I guess, which is like a hovel.
Well, because this is the girl's dad.
Right.
We didn't mention that.
Yeah. No, we did.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah. Because it's the actor's the girl's dad, and so she goes to like find.
She goes to where he's living, and apparently she hears this conversation about how basically these he's in debt to somebody else. And they're like, hey, if you ain't going to pay us, we're going to take your daughter. Ha, ha, ha. Right. And she's like, oh, no, the fake kidnapping is real. And then as she's, standing there, the guys come out and see her. And they're like, let's get that dame.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's it.
That's it for this creepy-ass book.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's bad.
And Supergirl's windsock boobs.
Bad. Anyways.
So I would actually rather read about Supergirl's windsock boobs than a 14-year-old model who's been forced to model by her money-hungry stage mother.
So the Daring New Adventures of Supergirl, number 3 from January 1983. Would you read the next issue of this?
No.
Well, fuck no.
Nope. Sorry, I've never been interested in Supergirl. I know I should be, but I'm so not.
I'm not interested in Supergirl. I'm not interested in this Lois Lane bullshit.
No, and I usually the Lois Lane books I like.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the older ones, because I have a bunch of them, and they're ridiculous, and they're a lot of fun to read, but this particular one is not.
All right.
All right.
Well, that's it for this show.
That's it. We're done.
Thanks for listening. We will catch you guys next time, but in the meantime, please check us out on Twitter at Angry Hero Shawn, SHAWN. That's also my Instagram. And my Tumblr is theangryhero.com or theangryhero.tumblr.com. And Jen, where can people find you?
I'm at Jen Stansfield on Twitter and Instagram, jenstansfield.tumblr.com, and jenstansfield.wordpress.com, where starting next week, I will once again be recapping Gotham.
Neat.
Yes.
And please check out SideshowNetwork.tv, Sideshow Network on Twitter. We are bringing on new shows. We're having a lot of good times here. So please support them. And please rate and review us on iTunes. Tell a friend. Leave a rating, leave a note, it's whatever. Wherever you can rate and review the show, it definitely helps and really appreciate it. So, man, that was classy.
And there you go.
That's
how this show goes.
I just ended there.
Really, like, we're no different than the Morning Zoo guys. We're like, fart noise, wee-woo, flush.
Flush is pretty much, this is pretty much,
it's the show.
It's the show.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's it for this week's show, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Bye.